he suffered renal failure in 2001, and he was on dialysis for 3 years, actually about 4 years, because he had a transplant in 2005. It was very difficult. No member of the family could have been a donor for various reasons. Each of us had a situation that prevented us from being donors. So, in light of that, he had to remain on dialysis because there was no one else. And it began to become very inconvenient, one, and there were problems with the stents. That's, they do a minor operation on your hand so that you can do dialysis. It's done by connecting a vein and an artery. Once he was having dialysis, and that ruptured in the right hand. So they had to do another one which required surgery in the left hand. 2 weeks later, that ruptured. So he was left now with a catheter in his neck. I don't know if you have ever seen it. It's like an antenna, and you insert it so that they can hook it up for dialysis. So could you imagine? He had to go to work every day. He was in a managerial position. And in addition, you need to dialyze 3 times a week for 3 or 4 hours. So that's like another job. So when all this happened then, because he was 30 years at the time, he initiated, all the research going to Pakistan.
So you heard about this process on the internet?
Actually, no. He had a friend who was 2 years younger than he was, who had actually done a transplant in Pakistan. So he got all the information from his friend, and he called the hospital, and then they told him what he needed to do before he comes up here.
Why couldn't you wait and follow through on the process in America?
Because that takes years. It might be a decade, it might be never. And at 30 years old or 33 years old, it really was, it affected your quality of life. So I think what prompted him to do it is that his friend, who was 28 years old, had just gone and had one done. And he encouraged him, and he made his decision.
Can you tell me about the process you went through?
Okay. As soon as you establish contact with the hospital, they send you a list of things that you needed to do, in whichever country you are. So you had some preliminary tests done, and then they send the results across to Pakistan. When Pakistan gets the results, they look at it, and before you make any arrangements to go across, they tell you if they can help you, one. They tell you if you are in good health, and if those 2 conditions are satisfied, then they tell you, what are the next steps in terms of setting up the arrangements to get there. So those initial blood tests are important, so they can tell you if they may have a close enough match.
You traveled with your son to Pakistan.
Yes.
What did you see when you got there?
Well, at first I was surprised at the size of the hospital. It looked small. When you look at the building, it's not what you think a hospital would look like. It's not a hospital in America. But when you get into the hospital, actually, you realize that it's very vertical. So, they go up and they go down. So there are 2 levels below the ground. And you realize there's an extensive range of services there. They do eye surgery, heart surgery, transplants. And what was even more surprising is while we were there were people from London, Turkey, and the Caribbean who came there to have kidney transplants.
Did you meet your donor?
Yes. As soon as the match is established, it's close enough, the donor comes with his or her family because the hospital is residential. So they bring the person with their family and they stay at the hospital as, before the actual operation and after their recovery to ensure that everything is okay.
Did you have any concerns about the procedure outside of America?
Initially, yes, but because I had known at least one individual who had done the surgery at that particular hospital, I was comfortable. And remember, I had the experience of seeing my son in great distress before the surgery. So it was more or less like, we have to do this,
Did they do any tests?
In Pakistan.
Yeah.
Yes, all the tests that were done at when he was both in the United States, he was also in the Caribbean for a while. All the tests were done, redone when he got to Pakistan.
So were you present during these tests?
No, it was like blood samples, so they sent it to their labs. But what they did is the doctors all came, we saw them every day. They came and they went through all the results, his results and the results of the donor. And they explained, why the match was so good. As a matter of fact, they said that that was almost as good as a family member.
Okay. So you're satisfied with everything that was done?
Yes. This was 2005 and it's 2009 and he's in good health.
Okay. What is your opinion on stem cell research? Have you heard about it?
Yes, I have.
What is your opinion?
Anything that can add to our quality of life or give sick people a chance, I believe in it and I recommend it. However, I also believe that it must be done outside of killing embryos. I don't believe that you should use an embryo that could have been a child for stem cell research.
Okay, well that's the end of my questions and thank you.
Thank you.